Hi, good evening, viewers. Welcome to my Insta Live today, this Friday evening. Hope all of y'all are doing great. So, welcome to the early show with Lata Srinivasan. I'm just waiting for you guys to join me. And yay! And today, being a Friday, getting into the weekend, I wanted to talk about lifestyle, food, and diet. I think that's very important in this, during the times of the pandemic, and also because a lot of people I know are on numerous kinds of diets, and they've been doing it over the last couple of years. And hi, Deepta.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are, Deepta. Thank you so much. So let me just quickly introduce Deepta Nagpal to you guys. She is a nutritionist and wellness coach, a lifestyle coach, and she's worked in AIMS and other prestigious hospitals. She's right now in Zagreb, Croatia, and she's joining us from there. So it's very nice of her to do this. And I've always liked her Instagram post because she keeps talking about, types of food you should eat. And she puts pretty pictures of all the salads and all the healthy food she makes. And I realized that, we must talk about food, especially during the pandemic times. And also because everybody seems to be either on a keto or in a intermittent fasting or some diet or the other, at least a lot of friends that I know. So I felt, we should talk about food, especially now since we're all shut in at home and, forced to eat healthier, I hope. So it's great, Deepta, that you're joining me for this chat. And so I quickly wanted to start off and ask you, there are so many different kinds of diets now, right? We've got the keto, which has been going on for the last couple of years. We've got intermittent fasting, which is now seems to be the rage. Then we've got DASH. Then we've got one meal a day. Oh, mad. Then we've got Mediterranean. So what is suitable for whom? Because I don't think everybody should just randomly follow these diets, right?
Yeah, so these diets, yeah, they are everywhere. So how it works is these diets come every year. America and countries like in Europe, they do assessment of these diets every year. So the diets have been rewarded. Some diets gets rewarded. So it's, I think, Dash and Mediterranean have been winning the awards from last few years. So
Right.
so it's a very common question being asked to us, like what a common man does. When you have a vegan group, the vegan groups are fighting with the paleo groups. The paleo groups is like Atkins, because they are like the meat lovers, right? So they have been mocking each other, deriding each other. So what a common man should do, Madam, aapko to pata hai.
Uh,
How will we, do the diets? So the thing is, see, every diet has one. You have one thing, very simple thing. We have to use our brains, not just by surfing the internet. We can follow a diet. I will share my experience with you, like a really sad experience, like one of my patients. So when a diet is made with one agenda. So with the keto, the agenda was fat loss, right? So it's not wrong. It has facts. It has tests done. It has studies done to back that kind of a diet. So, but does it suit to everybody? I am using these diets as tools with my patients. Now, after 16 years of experience, I have been doing these diets. I have done myself. I have been using these diets. But we use these diets when required for short time, for the short time when it is required. So when the diet is made, it has some agenda. And it has two phases. First phase is a short-lived phase when you actually, what was the target? Target was a weight loss. You acquire your weight loss. You get your goals done. The second phase is a long-term phase, which is like the consequences, which no one thinks about it when actually they start doing the diet, because they're feeling very good when they're losing weight, right? IF keto or whatever. So the long-term consequences can be really fatal side effects. They can be sustainability. Simple. Okay, this diet is really good to me, but now I'm not able to sustain the diet. And then I lost the relationship with the diet, and I am back on my own, and right, even the vitals shift. So
Deepta, I think you need to
yeah.
speak a little louder because they're not able to hear you.
So the thing is that the diet should be which is sustainable, and another thing, diet should cater or address basically the totality of your well-being. The the whole body, not just the fat loss. So I will give you an example. Like one of my first patients in Zagreb, like he walked inside the clinic and he was actually crying, and he told me that I cannot afford Ayurvedic diet because he thought it's something fancy and foreigner to him. But I am here because I am in a problem. I said there is nothing as such called as Ayurvedic diet, but you share your problem. So he did Atkins, like Dukan. Actually, Dukan is very famous here in Europe. It's
Right.
like so it's a high protein diet, low carbs and stuff like that. So he did from the internet, right? He didn't buy any package. He just saw and he did the diet. And with the diet, it was mentioned that he is supposed to take some supplements, which was like potassium, magnesium, calcium, salts like that. He did not take that, thinking that these are the chemicals coming from the bottle. I'm not going to take these along with my diet. He did for 6 months. He lost 70 kilos.
Wow. Huh.
He showed me the pictures, and he lost 70 kilos. After that, he got some minor digestion problems, which is common with these kinds of diet. Then anxiety, then depression, and then a stroke and a paralytic attack. When he came to me, his eye was twitching all the time when he was talking to me. He has a paralytic face. He was in his tears, and he said, now I have lost interest in eating. He was fat, like he was really huge when he came to me. So it took a lot of time to work with him and to bring back. So first of all, I started working with a psychological aspect,
Right.
because there was a lot of stress going on. When you are on these extreme diets, it's really important to do under a guidance. If even if you're doing from the internet, so you have to check your vitals, blood pressure. Even if you have normal, you're young, you have to check your blood pressures, you have to check your glucose levels. After some time, if you are facing the digestive issues, then that's the concern. Why? Because your gut microbiota is changing. You are deprived of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are responsible for obesity, high carbohydrates. Even for the heart diseases, 80% of the patients are hyperinsulinemia. Hyperinsulinemia means they have problem with they're like a pre-diabetics. They have problem with the glucose insensitivity. So you have to check your digestion. So it's not a small thing, because slowly these inflammations, this dysbiosis between the good and the bad microbiota becomes inflammations. These inflammations become a chronic disease, and then you go to the doctors and end up having gastroscopy, and stuff like that. You have autoimmune disease. Every person, when I started my practice, I used to get patients viral PCOD. That was really common. At most, diabetes or hypertension or kidney. Now we get autoimmune disease patients. Like, it's a trend.
Okay.
It's a trend. Now, why? Why autoimmune diseases now? Because of the environmental hazard. There is not known causes of autoimmune diseases, but yes, environmental hazards, what we are eating, another thing that we are going extremes. We are not enjoying the food. We are not. Food is like, in India, food is like Annapurna, right?
Right.
It's a spiritual thing, but we either are hogging, we are feasting. For feasting means hogging these days. It's not just, you're enjoying food with your senses, no. Or we are fasting. We are going extreme because we want shortcuts. Simple. And dietitians तो मना करती हैं. What's IF? Because उनका धंधा खराब होता है. This हमारा धंधा नहीं खराब होता, हमारा चलता है. When people come to us after 6 months with a kidney stone problem after doing the keto, I am using my ongoing clients with a short period, 3 days, a week at the max, when they are on to plateau. We have different patients who come. Another example is IF. And, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you need to increase your volume, I think, because people are saying it's a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the another thing is like IF. With IF, there are two kind of again the two phases, right? So I have two patients. Like I have like two patients, right? So one of the patient has SIBO. SIBO is like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Okay.
And another patient has GERD. So I can apply IF to a SIBO patient, because SIBO patient has a problem with a bacterial overgrowth, and when she or he will do a IF, like a starving, the that bacteria will starve and actually they will move towards the large intestines where they should be. That's the place where the bacteria should be there. And with the patient who has GERD, I cannot do IF. So the person who has digestive orders, but see, IF is really helping with the weight loss, will have chronic gastric problems later on.
Right.
So when it comes with us, they come to the multifactorial factors. If person has a disease, he has disease because of various factors. So we actually consider all the factors when we plan their diets.
Right.
So we do IF, and I think 12 to 13 hours of IF everyone should do. It's that much rest to the digestive system is really, really important. But beyond that, 16 hours is also okay. But then, okay, the pre-perimenopausal women, 35 plus or 40 plus, start experiencing irregularities with their periods and stuff like that. And then we have to make certain rules. No, you can't go beyond that. This is not for you.
Right. But there are also people who do only one meal a day, so they're eating like once in 24 hours and otherwise they'll have juice or, something. Is that healthy actually?
See, one meal a day gives you instant results. Instant results means really, really good results. But it's an extreme case. And beyond this, they even do for months. The one meal a day can be done for months. And there is a kind of a fasting. They do not eat for months, not even a day. Yeah, for 1 week, let's start. They will make a face group page, like a group. Let's start a diet. Let's go on a diet for 1 week. Let's go on a diet for 1 month together, and we have to have support. Because we saw that YouTube video of that doctor, he told us, and we can have supplements. But the doctor didn't see that what problems you have. See, so I am against this extreme diets. OMAD can be done as a fast, like we have been doing in our religions. So that can be done for a short time, once a year, like a detox. The spring is a time to detox ourselves, or the early summer. In Hinduism, we are doing Navratri. We are doing, we are doing the fasting that times. In Mohammedans, they do rosas. And then here in Christians, in Croatia, they celebrate Fashnik. The Fashnik is a time when they will not drink, they will not take sugars, they will not take red meat. For them, fasting, they can have fish. They can have lean. So it's fasting is like like creating a discipline in your life, right?
Right.
So it's like, I think should not be done beyond certain time, because and they say, okay, these changes are really short lived. After that you have autophagy, cellular membrane. No, do only such a thing which you can sustain for life. If you are taking a plan from me, and I've been telling you every week, okay, well, how was that? Please give me a dietary recall. So the dietary recall comes, okay, this was good, this was not good, which actually is better for a patient, because I will plan which he can sustain, rather than I can't give him a Croatian food to the Indian patient, or like my American patient who's an entrepreneur and staying in Texas, cannot have a patient in Croatia as well.
Right.
So,
So what you're saying is, if you plan to go on one of these diets, it's always best to consult a nutritionist and a dietitian and get a plan in place, right, before you do any of these extreme diets.
Yeah, this is actually, you should do that. But if you're not doing that, please do your research. And when I say research, I don't mean just internet surfing. You can read good books. You can follow actually very good papers which have been published through good sources like NCBI, NHS, ICMR. You can talk to an expert. You don't need to take a plan from an expert. You can pay one visit. Go pay one visit, and you should actually do your assessment. I was reading an Ayurvedic book last month, really nice, really good. And that person says you should eat chili when you have peptic ulcer. This is written in your Charak Samhita, like the Ayurvedic book, right? But I will use my brain here. If I have a patient ongoing peptic ulcer, I will not give him chili, even if Charak Samhita says that give chili to that patient.
Right.
But I can experiment with the green chili antioxidants when his ulcers have been healed. So I'm not using some studies over here on my education. I'm just using my brain, right? So you have to see yourself what condition you are in. Right. What are your circumstances? Mediterranean diet is really good, but it's really expensive. Can you afford that?
Yeah.
So people here come to me and ask about the Ayurvedic food supplements. They actually click the pictures and tell me, Deepika, week I got ashwagandha, I got shatavari, I got tulsi, and people there in India who I am seeing remotely are actually sending me Mediterranean diets. They're satisfied with what they have.
Yeah, so that brings me to an interesting point, because recently you spoke about ghee and how ghee is very important in our diet. So, what are some of the foods in Indian?
I can't hear you. मेरे को ईयरफोन्स दे दो वेदा के दे दो just हेलो सुनो हेलो I think hello you're not audible no
Hello. Hello, guys. Hello, can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me? Okay, super, super. Thank you, Taruna. So there seemed to be some issue with the audio, so I've joined again. Just waiting for Deepta to connect.
yeah I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, super, thanks. So Deepta, like I was saying, you were speaking about Indian food, and especially like you mentioned, you were talking about ghee. I saw your post and I found it very interesting because a lot of people have spoken about ghee and how you should add at least 1 or 2 tablespoons every day. Do you think as Indians, there are certain foods we're ignoring, but which are actually healthy for us?
Yeah, actually, I would say you all are very fortunate to be in India. India has, beautiful biodiversity. Our diversity is actually our asset. It's our strength, but there is ignorance. So the same thing which I told you. The people are running after the Mediterranean foods and right there. So ghee, yes, it's wonderful. Actually, okay, there are many, there are many. To name a few, it will be injustice. What I can do is I can tell you how you can plan a day. Okay, let's talk about monsoons, which is going right now in India. It's hot,
Right.
and it's humid these days. So this is like a sample, which I will tell you, but the sample applies to the general population without any disease.
Right.
It's my disclaimer. So when you get up these days in the morning, so these days sabza seeds are really good. Sabza seeds are, anti-pitta, as per Ayurveda.
What is
So
sabza in English?
sabza is a holy basil
Okay,
seeds,
basil seeds. Okay.
like a cousin of a chia seeds.
Okay.
So sabza is really good in the morning. You can take the pre-soaked overnight. You have to pre-soak it.
Okay.
And Another thing, what can be done in the morning is neem. Neem is really bitter,
Right.
but neem in the early spring and neem in the summer and the monsoon period, it's very good for the heat and the pitta doshas, and it's excellent antioxidant, and it has antimicrobial peptides. So for the immunity sake also, it will be great. And you can, in summers you can also do shatavari, especially women with the hormonal issues and going through menopausal or perimenopausal, moving towards that side. It is really for you. You can also do triphala if you have digestive disorders.
Trifla.
Only
Yeah.
triphala. Triphala should not be done with the people who have uric acid issues. Too much of triphala because of the amla content in it and
Okay.
oxalate for the uric acid. And once this is done, then people have a habit of having tea or coffee that can be taken, but that should be taken with something, not your biscuits and usual rusk, but can be handful of nuts. If they are pre-soaked, then it's really good because soaking reduces the phytic acid of the nuts and it becomes more easily digestible. And as per Ayurveda, it's, then they cool down. Generally, the concept is phytic acid, that they don't have anti-nutrients in them, and anti-nutrients means the phytic acid doesn't let other nutrients get absorbed in your body,
Okay.
right? And after that, you can have your breakfast, and breakfast depends upon your region where you are. It can be moong sprouts, nicely sauteed or steamed. It can be chana sprouts. It can be eggs if you are vegetarian, with some avocado, like Karnataka has beautiful avocados this year. And then you can have idli, chutney. If you are in South, you can have poha. If you are in Maharashtra, like a balanced meal. And
Right.
you can even smoothies, even if you are watching your weight and you don't want to put grains in the morning, you can have fruits with some nuts and chia seeds or some pumpkin seeds. Why nuts with fruits? To lower the glycemic index.
Okay.
And on the same hand, eating the good prebiotics in your stomach to get a good fermentation. And then in the mid-afternoon, you can have soul curry, like, the kokum with, in Maharashtra, it's very common. You can have
Correct.
coconut water, just plain nimbu pani. You can have aam panna. You can have, for my Croatian friends who are live, I know, you can have jasmine. You can have hibiscus. You can have rose hip. You can have nettle. Nettle is right now really good. So you can have these teas. I am having fumitory. Okay, my teacher Mirko is saying hi. It's Qigong energy relaxation teacher. He's like mentor to me. So, and after when it's a lunchtime, in the lunchtime you can have a balanced meal. If you are in south part of India and it's hot, you can have curd rice with sabzi and some salad. You can do fish and rice, which is a balanced meal. So these all are antioxidants, the superfoods. What is, and then for evening snack, okay, evening snack can be again some flax seeds, essential, ALA, which is linolenic acid, which is really good for you. It's anti-inflammatory. Flax seeds or pumpkin seeds, which are rich in magnesium, and sunflower seeds can be taken with some buttermilk, or you can have curd, or you can have kefir at that time around 4 to 6. The prebiotics like a calcium or a magnesium. And then for the dinners should be lighter, like it's I always believe, and dinners can be stews, vegetable stews with some millets in it. They can be khichdi if you're vegetarian, and they can be buttermilk is really good. Subir is asking me, buttermilk is an excellent probiotic, and you can add kefir seeds in buttermilk to actually enrich it more, to fortify it more with good, like lactobacillus and bacteria. So in the dinner, you can have stews with millets. You can have uh, khichdis, and you can have actually a one-pot meals, which are lighter on stomach, and the vegetables which are cooked for some a little more time rather than just sauteing it. Because in the night you need to have something which calms you, something which doesn't produces flatulence and gas. If they are undercooked, you can have a lot of salads during the lunch, but for many stomachs in the night, salads don't go well, especially with the Indian gut. The guts are different. The gut also,
Yeah.
depends upon religion. So you can have these meals, and during the, like, at the bedtime, the sleep is a problem with this lockdown time. I know the anxiety and stress going on all around. So you can have chamomile has tryptophan. It helps you to sleep. You can have saffron. Just saffron with elaichi is also helps you to sleep. You can also have lavender. You can apply lavender on your temple, and you can. So this is the way, the general. And Jamun is very good. When we talk about antioxidants, the superfoods this season,
Yeah.
jackfruit and jamun is right foods for India. You can do jamun and jackfruit. See, the more the color the vegetables have, the more the anthocyanin. It's not a rocket science. You need to put antioxidants. Those are anti-inflammatories,
Right.
right? And you have to have seasonal. You have to eat seasonal.
But what about people who are heavy non-vegetarians? What is the kind of meat or diet they should stick to during lunch and during dinner? Because there are some people who have to have non-veg every day. They're not used to eating vegetables.
So, having non-veg is not bad. Their guts are used to it. Actually, it has a lot of minerals in it. Vegetarians, even Ayurvedic experts says that vegetarians lack some minerals, and then we have to have dhatus like shilajit and stuff like that overcome the nutrient deficiencies. So, this is really good. Having non-veg is good, but non-veg red if it's a red meat you have to have in small proportions. You just cannot overdo non-veg. You can't overdo anything. So with lean proteins, with fish, okay, in the night fish stew with the vegetables is really good, and preferably lunchtime because proteins take a lot of time to digest. And meats have a good quantity of fat also, which you don't require in the night unless and until you're coming, from a gym or you're doing really heavy workout. So lunch is the best time to have meats. And I prefer, like when I make plans, so I prefer my patients to be vegetarian during the night. But if they are, then I give them fish stews and some boiled eggs with vegetables.
Okay, okay. But it's always better to grill food, isn't it, rather than like grill fish or grill chicken. Do you think that's a better option than frying or whatever else they might want to do?
Because amount of fat, when we can plan a diet, we see the macros, like how much protein, how much fat we have to give to that person. uh, if we talk about the cooking methods in India, pressure cooking is best because uh, it actually preserves your nutrients. Baking is also good, but baking actually is very high heat. It can destroy your heat sensible vitamins and heat
Okay.
sensitive minerals also, like iron and copper. With frying, not frying should not be done, very often. Frying once a week, okay, something which is a traditional dish and really relish it can be done with not vegetable industrial oil. Ghee can be used for oiling. Frying. You can even add a little bit of olive oil in ghee. People are using ghee with little bit of olive oil to increase the smoking point. Do not reuse for cooking if you are doing frying. So I am frying once in 15 days, for my kids, for myself. So we are frying, but I am not frying non. I am grilling non-veg, like we use generally fish. I am grilling it, or I am just sauteing it. So they have it. It's a complete food. It has everything. It has there's ALA, which for DHA and EPA, which is really good for your brain and it's anti-inflammatory. So your skin and everything, you don't need to fry.
Okay. So somebody is just asking, what are some food suggestions you'd give during the lockdown? Because there's not much of physical exercise that people are getting within the homes.
Okay. So first thing I would like to tell you, whenever I go to social media, I see jalebis all around, and people are tagging me everywhere with some आओ चलो पिए आओ चलो pav bhaji खाएं, and I've been requesting them, don't tag me here. So the thing is, okay, people are enjoying lockdown. It's like for me also it's a family time. So I have seen my husband standing in the kitchen and cooking. I don't know, after years, he is taking interest in this. So now when we talk about the immunity aspect and the exercise part, see, it's a stressful time also. It's a stressful time in terms of corona, what will be the future, it's uncertainty. So my advice is food is really important. Our immunity, 80% of our immunity is in our gut, the gut microbes. So food is really important. Your immunity cannot be built in one day. For immunity, you need to have a balanced diet. If I say, okay, start having turmeric, start having licorice, So one of my patients had licorice actually and called me. She used to have blood pressure, and she read a WhatsApp that licorice is anti respiratory disorders, which is actually our malati. And she started licorice and then called me and, Deepta, I have very high blood pressure and I've been following your diet. When I, like, she doesn't take plans for me now. I don't know. I started talking to her, okay, what happened? And she was having licorice. Licorice can raise your blood pressure. So again, you have to use your brains.
Right.
So yourself with tulsi and adrak, you can supplement yourself with turmeric. Tulsi adrak is really good in monsoons too. You can supplement yourself with fresh fruits, like these days it's jamun and these peaches also. The peach has this orange color carotenoids. They have peptides which are antimicrobial. You can have watermelon in summer now. In Croatia we will have them. You can have cherries. So these are all immunity fighting foods. But first of all, what you have to do is you have to stop eating junk, which is in your case sugar, wheat, alcohol in India. How will the apple grow in the desert? How will you attain the immunity when you already have so much clutter around? You have to make your land fertile for the fruits to grow in. So first on eliminating few things from your diet, and then add the normal khana, ghar ka khana, supplement it with some herbs which I mentioned. Ashwagandha is good for stress, but right now shatavari is better because it's summertime. Neem is antimicrobial. Eat good food, as I told you the menu, but you have to first stop eating gluten. You have loads. We have 1,000 varieties of rice in India.
So we have to
Red and
stop eating wheat, you're saying?
See, wheat, if I say technically, stopping the wheat is for people who have celiac, right? But what wheat is doing is wheat is making our intestines permeable slowly and slowly, which I don't know, you don't know. And then we get some skin disease or we get bloating. Even my own stomach comes out. I look pregnant, like my stomach, nothing will happen. I don't have celiac, but I just, so that you have to see your own, symptoms. You have to feel your body. So wheat is making your intestines permeable. Slowly and slowly, people can have leaky guts. People can simple skin allergies. So when we get a patient with skin allergies or constant coughing all the time, especially kids, I tell them to stop wheat for a week or two. And the mothers argue with me, "ऐसा कैसा चलेगा, madam? Wheat कैसा बंद करेंगे? हम तो wheat ही खाते हैं." So then I give them options like ragi. You can have ragi. You can have loads of millets. You have more gluten-free variety in India rather than what we have here. I know the names. When I'm making a diet for the person who's in Tamil Nadu or person who's in Bengal, I have to ask them, "Bhai, apna sa millet." The loads and lots of samai, and I have written all the names when so these are all fox millets. These are all finger millets. Bajra, jawar, sorghum, and they have nutrients also. Otherwise, also if you are having wheat also, you don't have anything, you should actually try all the cereals, all the grains. You should keep on rotating. Why? Because they all have minerals. They all have cysteine, lysine, some lactose, to supplement your diet.
Okay, so is this multigrain atta, which everybody now seems to be popular, is that a good, substitute rather than just plain wheat?
Okay, so the multigrain atta, there is a theory behind it. Like there was a study when we mix so many cereals together, then there is a malabsorption. Like you are not able to absorb all the nutrients because of the phytic acid content. So if you actually supplementing besan and ragi, just two, and besan is a dal and ragi is a cereal, which is a very good combination. Besan will give you lysine and dal will give you cysteine, which they both lack. Is called as a supplementation. We do for Anganwadis and all, the people who cannot afford rich foods. So supplementing rice and dal in a dosa, which is a very good combination. Then you are supplementing millets and again one dal for a dosa. Like you're substituting the millet instead of rice and a dal. Very good combination going with two things, especially a dal and a cereal. But mixing all sort of things and then on that adding bran, people, I take a food recall when the patients come to me. Most of the diets, bran roti khate hain. What is bran roti? Bran is bhusa. Bran is hay. So when you're eating the bran, it's just like isabgol. It's making, that lump in your body and just helping you to evacuate, helping you with
Yeah.
your stools.
Right.
This giving you, so when you put a food inside your body, that goes through some fermentation process in your intestines,
Right.
and it produces SCFA, like short chain fatty acids,
Yeah.
which are really good for you. They are help in your cell regeneration. They're really for your immunity also. But if you're putting bran, why? Because हमको calories कम करना है. We read somewhere that bran will just nullify the calorie content of the roti, and we are adding bran because we have constipation. No, you have lots of food to add to prevent constipation. You have a lot of things to prevent constipation. So mixing atta, too many of attas is not a good thing, but mixing two things together is actually good.
Okay. So what about having fresh vegetable soup for dinner instead of, on a daily basis instead of, food as such? Is that healthy as well?
See, it depends who's having fresh juice. Like, what was your
Soup,
lunch?
soup.
What yeah, soup. What was your lunch? What was your snack? And now, if your nutrients have been balanced, and then okay, I do what you are saying. I eat really good breakfast. I eat good lunch. I in the evening when my kids come back from school, and I'm having a proper meal with them, like a kind of a third, which is a third meal. So for the dinner, when my husband comes back from the office, which is around I think 7, I will have just soup. So it depends. But if you had lunch and you have nothing in between and just soup, that's not sufficient. What you will do is you will go to fridge, or you will that time soup will okay, maine soup khai, I'm feeling good and light, and after that you will be exploring your fridge, or you will end up damaging more than So
Okay.
you have to start loving your food. Start enjoying the food. Eat in balance. Don't go towards extremes. So you have some millets in the soup. You can add some paneer in the soup. You can add some tofu in the soup. You can add fish in the stew. You can add shuk. Bengalis make very nice shukto. They make some chicken stew. So you have to add some protein or some carbohydrate to feel, make you feel satisfied. To
Okay.
control you.
One of the biggest things with Indians is we love dessert. We love sweets. We love sugar. And it's like part of every household. And anything and every festival, anything is celebrated with tons of sweets. How do you think it's important to cut down sugar completely, or what is the balance in terms of the sweet quotient in our lives?
Okay. See, there is a term called as eat everything in moderation, right? I don't believe in it because it doesn't work like that. So there are two things in which moderation helps, like Mediterranean diet is based upon moderation, and it has helped a lot of people to fight the heart disease and stuff like that.
Right.
But when it to trans fatty acids and sugar, then moderation doesn't work. So it depends upon a person. Here in Croatia also people love their cakes, and they really make delicious cakes. So you have to sugar. Technically, sugar, you do not require sugar. Not kid also don't require sugar. There is no such thing as a requirement of a sugar in the body.
Yeah.
When you want to, then there are grains to have carbs. Okay, fructose also to some extent. You cannot overdo fruits also, and time is very important. Timing the fruit after the workout or after the long walk is the best time. So sugar is a slow poison. Sugar is giving you anything, and it's a vicious circle. Sugar craves sugar. So the thing which patients really they madam sugar to chahiye, and after 2 weeks, they say ab mujhe feeki chai achhi lagti hai. I enjoy my tea without sugar. And desserts, I'm not saying that I don't eat desserts. I eat desserts, but once in a while. So when you are with me on plans, or you are not with me, but when we end up the professional relationship, I guide them. Now, okay, now what to do? Abhi Diwali aayega to tu kya karega next? What do you have to do the next year? How will you manage yourself? You should not come back from where you started. So I guide them how to take. So when you are going on a holiday, go on a holiday. Do it mindfully. Enjoy one meal. Enjoy one meal. You can have your desserts, but then I give them some tips like ACV. I'm not a big fan of ACV, but ACV is it helps to lower down the glycemic index. When you partied and you did damage, now the damage has been done.
Yeah.
So vitamin E and vitamin E helps as an antioxidant. Like people go to McDonald's, and kids go to ma'am, we love it, and we go and we like it and what to do, but that's a you have to have vitamin E, C to repair the. and then you can do 2 spoons of ACV if you don't have any digestive issues. Sometimes with people having digestive issues, ACV is really not good. So that will help to lower down the blood insulin levels. Otherwise, you don't need sugar. Sugar at this season, at the laddu, which is a prasad, halwa, I enjoy. And when I eat it, and then I don't go into that guilt. I used to. Why this is there's a story behind Beyond Kilos and Inches. I was an obese child, not obese, okay, overweight child. So my brothers are they're listening to me, and they used to call me Moti. Still, if someone will call me Moti, okay, like he's calling to me. I'm so used to it. So I went to my dad and I told him, okay, now I have done my masters. I got selected in AIMS. Like I'm like very happy. I get I'm fourth rank in all over India. I said, who's going to give you a job? Because he is a professor, and I qualified my UGC and he wanted me to become a teacher. So hey, who's going to give you a job? With what's your weight right now? It's 75. Okay, then it was a negative motivation for me, and which really worked well. So since then, I lost weight with him. He's a physiology professor. He helped me with workouts. But I experimented myself 8 years. From 2000, starting in 2003, I was in AIMS. For 8, 9 years, I got pregnant. Whatever I lost, I was back on 90 kgs. And then I lost. So I have been doing these all diets. But then there came a point in 2012. I told myself, I have to think beyond. No more, I'm not a slave of these inch tapes and those measuring tapes and these weighing machines. Then that actually helped me a lot personally, professionally. I'm eating everything, but I know my body. When I eat, I enjoy my food. I love food. I respect food. My message to you is to everyone around there: start respecting your body. If you want to have gulab jamun, you want to have it. Then do not cry after having it. And then the next day again start your life normal. So these things should be treats. They are not giving you anything good. Okay, laddu has some protein, some essential fatty acids. It's nice to have. So sometimes I tell my patients to do cheating also, which is important. Why? Because when some like we have different kinds of friends. Some people are really whatever I will say, they will eat like that, and we get to know. To them, I say, okay, I'm not giving sending you Saturday's plan. You will cheat on Saturday. नहीं नहीं madam, no, वही डर निकालना. But actually, why I'm doing is that we have a hormone called leptin, which actually stops its secretion if we overdo. If we are very strict with us, like not having sugars or not having anything. So when that is responsible for the fat loss. To make its secretions go normal, I tell them to go cheat, eat whatever you want to eat. That's the time you should actually cheat in between. Another thing is ghrelin. Ghrelin is another hormone which tells us that now I'm not hungry, I'm done, I feel good. So that's the problem with most of us. That was my problem. So you have to find your problem with some expert. So I used to eat, and the ghrelin used to secrete because I used to eat fat. I was not enjoying it mindfully. I used to eat fats, and the ghrelin secretes after 20 minutes of your eating. No one in India is eating, taking 20, wherever. Hardly people take time to, they're just eating and they're running. So after 20 minutes, ghrelin tells you, now you're full. People have already overeaten, the damage has been done. So the ghrelin is how we can fix the thing, that hunger, is that with the deep breathing, which I'm doing. I'm days for meditation, deep breathing, yoga. Thinking your parasympathetic and your autonomous nervous system in the times of COVID is also very important. The anxiety, the fear. So my teacher says we tell our kids learn this, learn that. Then we go to the college. Boss says learn this. No one tells us to unlearn. Sometimes unlearn. We have to just relax. So take food as a medicine and enjoy it. So you have to find your own balance. Treat your body with respect. I have learned it very late, but I have learned it. So, Everyone will learn.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Deepta. You gave tons of information, especially about the kind of food we should be eating right now. And a lot of comments that I got were also on this, that, your whatever foods you listed out, it's very helpful that people can start substituting it, at least in their daily lives, little by little, to get healthy and better. Thank you so much for joining me from Zagreb. It was really nice of you to spend so much of time explaining this to us. It was wonderful, and hope to meet you soon whenever. Okay.
Croatia. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care. It was very nice of you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.